The moment we all have been waiting for is finally here. The last day of the grand finals of the Android BGMS Season 3, powered by Garnier's Med, is over here. After the span of 4 games, the champions will be crowned on that stage behind us. But not just that, in the overall standing, still, things are looking way too fragile. I'm going to be your host and caster for the day. John alongside with me on the panel. It will be scared yet once again. And as I mentioned, overall standing still looking pretty sensitive, man.
Absolutely. I mean, OG were the ones who had a very good opportunity and had a good placement at the first position with a decent buffer too. But then again, it was Carnival Gaming to slowly and steadily dethrone them, and the consistency that this team has been bringing on the table is actually frightening.
We're just moments away from stepping inside of the first game of the last day of the grand finals. This game holds a lot of value. If you've got a great start for yourself, well then that's going to carry on for the rest of the day. It's all about the momentum and finding the right foot in the right spot. Let's move on to the first game of the day as the plane flat path begins all the way from Loverupnoy towards Stalper. And this plane flat path is tilted heavily to one side of the map, and that's going to be the right side. If the teams want to move in towards Georgiapool, Gatka, Quarry, even Ferropir or Primorx, it's going to be a tough stretch, so we might see some pit stop collisions.
Quite a lot of them actually, because one of the pit stops might actually be near Pochinki, where we normally see both Carpadium and WSB duke it out against each other. So we might see some teams deciding to go in for the third party, specifically the teams like 8-Bit, Team Tamilas, or also Carnival Gaming.
Team X Park in one plate, it breaks out too as Kana gets knocked down and finished. But coming back to this fight, now the snade's placed in quite a tragic manner, but still the knockout is found, so that's a great news for Godlike. As long as they're getting those constant trades, that's all that's gonna matter. It's taken down to a 2-on-2, and for Godlike, all they need to do is find one more knock to be in the advantage, and vice versa.
Absolutely. He got almost finding Puka there as well, as he's the last man standing, and this is a big problem coming in for Carpadium. Losing out to their duel against the members of Godlike is not something where they thought they're going to take a good start on. It's a 1v3 situation. Punk has also been brought back on his feet though. It's going to be even big problem now. Pukar, can he go and give the revive to Kamla Boy is a big question, because there's a third party coming in the exact same area.
Yeah, Pukar's done for. He does not stand a chance, and Jonathan will put that final nail in the coffin. That's it for Carpadium. They have been outgunned off the rip by Godlike.
But right now, Entity deciding to pounce on the members of Weak Reckoning Esports. As it's going to be a 3-on-3. Shots being fired. Anasis has been knocked down, brought on his feet. But Immortal answers back perfectly as well, catching one person, finishing them off. Want to chase down to the other players too. Reckoning now suffering a lot of those casualties. It's a 3-on-2 situation, but in the compound, it's a 2v2. Immortal pretty low in that HP. Will try to spray it down, will be demolished. And that's the end of the wrath of Reckoning.
Exactly what we wanted to see. Reckoning Esports eliminated from the game, but decent amount of points acquired. But look at WSB, a complete shift in the tide. Drigger's back in the playing fray, by the way, and that's something we like to see. As soon as Drigger's back in the lineup, WSB's doing much better. And now Fury's on the move too. One last man of Entity, it's Raiden. And even Raiden's on the verge of being eliminated from the game, by the way.
Oh.
Raiden does not have any backup so far. His teammates are way too far away from Raiden, but still, the teammates from the far fray doing a great job in providing that backup, and Raiden somehow survives that wrath.
Massive cover fire coming in from Somraj, saving the life of his teammate, the saving grace of Entity.
Just waiting for someone to peek out, give their position away, and Somraj will try to find the first opener. But with this movement, Somraj has given his own position away. Gods gets ran over, and Raiden's out in the open. I just do not see what Raiden's trying to do, but he's taking a lot of heat upon himself, and Troy's there with the cover fire. Hector gets knocked out through the smoke, and even Troy gets knocked out in return.
Oh.
It's not that great of a news for Entity, but Somraj inside of the HUD is doing a lot of damage against the foes.
Absolutely true. They were taking fights on 2 different fronts, and that's where Entity can now lose the opportunity. Neo tries to flush out a few players, will be finished off. Not a lot of points gained for Carnival. This was not the Carnival that they were hoping for.
Oh my god, Troy can be revived. How is this even possible? Troy was so much deep into that dirt.
One need.
But Troy's still somehow alive. Utilities being tossed in from Entity. It sailed in pretty close. Maxi OP, some damage was chipped out against the guy. But he's still standing. Team Tamilas consistently there, always in the top 3 in every single game. In the grand finals, they have been so consistent. And there's a reason why I call this team the Burning Torch of Consistency. Maxi OP takes shots, gives his position away. Team Tamilas, they need to try and close on up to the safe zone soon as possible. They're tossing out the smokes. to try and give them that cover from the players of Entity, while WSP is trying to move in from the back lines. But Team Timless from the top will try to give the cover fire to Entity unintentionally. Utilities are being tossed, they are being traded from both the sides, but not even on the prime spot.
Now Toy can't hold that angle whatsoever, even though he created a hard cover with the vehicle itself, because WSB is on the southern side or the eastern side of the circle. Team Tamilas will also be moving in. The blue is going to push trigger. He's got to stand up, and that's when the Entity could actually strike. But good nade being thrown in by Gods does not matter.
Oh my god, the Molotov.
Oh!
The Molotov to end the things off. WSP, they tossed in a perfect Molotov. That's as they cut the line of sight on the players of Entity. But then Team Timberlust, they give a finishing blow considering WSP's head was on the swivel the entire time. Team Timberlust, they find the perfect timing once again, just like yesterday they found against Carpadium. They just know exactly when to strike. They showcased so many patience in that game and ended up taking the chicken dinner. Team Timberlust has been super successful in surviving till the top 3. Day 1, day 2 wasn't theirs, but maybe day 3's game 2 can be, as the game's gonna begin in a few moments, as the plane's gonna hit the skies once again, and the plane flat path begins all the way from Camp Charlie towards Cow. This plane flat path once again is perfect. Teams can easily move on to any end they want.
Are we still going to see that collision? The date with destiny. Is it set yet again as Carnival takes the first exit to move in over down south of those ruins areas? We've also seen Godlike taking that early exit too. Entity will move over towards the eastern part just like they love.
And Global Esports and SouL, yes, they're going for another fight towards the temple area. But will it be Global Esports being buried this time, or will it be the opposite side of the spectrum? Anyone can come out on top. Even Global Esports, they hold a lot of potential. But just the previous time, it's once again the players of WSP to be eliminated from the game as soon as the game even begins. It's the same thing repeating itself. Feels like deja vu.
I mean, it's basically the same thing for X-Park. Potato. And 8-bit now. They're also having their eyes stuck on the members of Reckoning. The Wolves now could be hunted too, as they are taking blows from the other side. Aditya has got a massive job on his back.
Pulls out the shotgun, realizes he's getting pounced on. 8-bit, they've already been struggling in their firefights, and I guess the same thing's gonna happen once again. They don't stand a chance against Reckoning Esports. They collide against the Wolves, and the Wolves, they rip them apart. But Reckoning Esports, now it's time for an uphill fight. The advantage in the hands of God's Reen, and God's Reen have been one of those teams that has been reigning supreme sometimes in these fights. Oh, this push from Carpadium. It's going to be super crucial for them too in the race. And what a beautiful nade that was from Z-God. Now pulls out the TBS up against Gamla Boy, and he's trying his best to get as much cover as possible. Z-God gets strike down eventually, and Admino is getting backstabbed over and over again. Admino wrapped up in a sheet, sent back to the lobby. Carpadium, they're the one to come out on top in that fight, as Godlike was also getting backstabbed from a different amount of teams. But Carpadium, with a 3-man squad, they need to move inside of the zone. We'll make that just a 2-man squad as Max Payne bleeds to his death.
Big problem coming for Carpadium themselves. They need this game. Reckoning have decided to shy away from the fight over towards with God's Reign, and now are trying to take in against the members of Entity.
There's too many teams looking to get a better spot in the safety lines, and Team Tamilas, they need to be a little bit more quick on that rotate. They're up to a 3-man squad, which is really important. And this 3-man squad from Team Tamilas can also wreak chaos in the lobby. Mogo Esports, all the 4 players, now looking to pounce on top of the prey, which is going to be in the name of One Blade. And Mogo Esports, they're dishing a lot of damage against the boys too. One last man from One Blade, that's going to be the name of Sirkar, and he's positioned himself in the corner. Justin knows exactly where the last man is too, but then Justin is getting striked from the back lines. It's God's Reen who jump in the fray, and Phantom strikes down 2 players.
Timing is impeccable, as this team gives a slither of hope. But can God's Reign actually do it is going to be the big question. It's Reckoning, Mogo and God's Reign as the last 3 remaining. Reckoning only have got 1 man, that's Hunters. And he was also wrapped up for that one. It's Entity who lost themselves too. Big game for both of these teams. The circle favoring the sides of Mogo, and they should be the one to close it out. The only question is, how many throwables do God's Reign have?
Mogo Esports, a 3-on-3 fight. It's down to the equal grounds. Mogo Esports with the hard cover to play with, while God's Reign, They can't spread their wings a little bit more better. But Phantom gets caught out in the open. Even Fury's taken down way too low. Mogo Esports, it seems like the death blow is going to be on their name. They are here to hand it out to the players of God's Reign. Altu, utilities being tossed upon that one single man. Fury is still there in the back lines. He wants to provide that cover fire, but as soon as Fury peeks out, he's constantly taking that damage upon himself. These final two teams, Mogo Esports with the advantage, while God's Reign's Fury can be the table turner. But Altu needs to connect every single possible shot.
If only he had one nade. He could have thrown it in that compound to get it to knock, and he finds a
nicely done
to catch Justin out there, and it's down to Shogun and Destro.
Now Justin needs to be revived, and that's what Destro's going to try to do. Altu, he pre-fired that window, wanting to catch someone. If Altu wants, he can make that pounce. He can definitely make that push towards the players. Justin's getting revived. God's Reign, both the players, they need to reunite right here, right now. Fury, he topples his HP over. Mogo Esports once again back with the advantage, but now the zone's favoring the players of God's Reign.
Exactly what I wanted to mention, that Mogo will have to move out of their covers, and they don't have any throwables right now to utilize. Maybe a few smokes, but they've got to send one body as the bait and the next two to cover.
A 2-on-3 fight. Mogo Esports once again back with the advantage. It's being stretched too much, but luckily enough, these are the final two teams, so they do not really have to worry about the third party anymore. Mogo taking their sweet little time. They know they need to push outside of this comfort zone, while God's Reign waiting for Mogo Esports to push outside of this comfort zone. This push from Mogo Esports has to be phenomenal. It has to be so well coordinated. All the three players, they need to jump out at the same time. Destro is going to be the prime target in this fight. Slowly and steadily, the wall of death is closing on up as Justin is catching too much hurt upon himself. Even God's Reign, their backs against the wall. Mogo Esports, they're choking slowly and steadily. Even Shogun falls down. Justin is taken down as well. And the last man will be eaten alive. God's Reign, they rain their wrath on the lobby. And Mogo Esports, they have been devoured by the gods. They have been zapped outside the lobby, and this was the game that we all were waiting for. Miramar now is going to be on the screen as the plane's going to hit the skies once again on the deserty lands, and the plane flap pad starts all the way from Trailer Park towards Truck Stop.
Well, good luck if you want to drop down south towards Chumasar and Los Leones, because that is a territory where if you want to reach, you've got to fight it for a pit stop itself. But OG taking an early drop already over around the area of El Pozo, where we normally see Carpadium as well as Entity take that drop, but that's not going to happen this time around as Carpadium moves down south too.
Right down! Team X Park is losing out on the man number slowly and steadily, and Ninja Jod is trying to patch himself up from that fight. And he's got a lot of time to recover, but as soon as I say that, he gets taken down instantly.
Beautiful play by Hunters. First knocks Sarang on the stairs and then moves forward, but that's not where the action ended. It's Carpadium up against the members of Orangutan. The apes are being picked apart. Teams are going blow for blow. Shotgun needs to be connected, and that's going to be the first one. Aru still not giving it up. Tries to go in for the confirmation as well. Can he find one more? Absolutely not is the answer as Carpadium survives. And the apes fall short with only 4 points in their name. But finally, Carnival Gaming jumping against the members of WSB. They've been struggling in their fights, and his power finds a beautiful knock onto Gods, and that was the important one. Neo moves in a little bit too close as Zeref. Can he find the big will? Absolutely do. The confirmation will flow right after it. No one to provide the cover fire whatsoever. His power was busy patching himself up, but it's only just one last man remaining.
A punch in the gut, and CG's Goblin, he will be strike down.
Oh my god.
WSPs slowly and steadily clawing their way back in the fight, but as soon as I say so, S-Power comes in with a beautifully cooked nade, and he strikes down that man. But CG, they've already taken too much damage upon themselves in that one individual fight. And now S-Power, he's got everything on his back next to Hector. But luckily enough, Hector's still alive in the game. That's the ideal. He can make the prime callouts.
God's Reign very well can try and find a few more picks, but they've got to be wary of Team Tamil. Oh my god! Most beautiful and the most impactful nade that we've ever seen in BGMS Season 3.
God's Reign making the right choices every single time. You put two options in front of them, and God's Reign is always making the right choice. This game of Miramar, it's a date with destiny for God's Reign. And after this game, they will be in the top 2 as well. They will snatch that spot away from Entity or either CG. Carpedium's Pucar is still there in the game, constantly going for that mid strat, but I don't think so that's even gonna matter. As Joker's the casualty, Altu there in the clotheslines, and now the duel's taken down a one-on-one, and what just happened? Knuckle takes down 2 players single-handedly, and he keeps his team cooking in the game, alive in the game. He can get the revival back on his fallen teammate. Joker is still in the back lines. It's taken down to a one-on-one. Godlike versus SouL. Every fan's dream to witness. On the left is Joker, on the right is Knuckle. If they take the leap at the same time, then Jonathan will be confused who to target.
True.
This will be quite a brilliant move, and I think so that's what SouL is trying to execute. It will require connection and communication on point. And that's what they do. They jump down at the same time from different angles. And it will be SouL to seal the deal. Jonathan took down the first man, but unfortunately failed to connect the second shot. And that's where SouL, they came out on top and got that chicken dinner. As I mentioned, this is every fan's dream to witness a final like this. SouL and Godlike to decide the better spot in the overall standings. But you cannot take the glorification away from God's Ring 2. What a game that was.
The gods are stepping in as clutch.
Here we go. The decider, the final game of the BGMS 2024 begins now as the plane's gonna hit the skies for one last time, starting all the way from Georgia Pool towards the Snufka military base. This plane fly path is tilted completely to the one side of the map.
The first angle started with the plane over towards the east, and this one's ending with the plane over towards the west. The duality is absolutely mind-boggling as the teams will start to take the drop in next 5 seconds. Godlike can also move in towards Zarki if they want to, and that's the reason why they take that early exit already. That means a drop clash is coming between Godlike and Entity themselves. And this wizard tower is Z-God alone.
Oh my god, Godlike is getting dismantled systematically. Another man falls short. And now it's down to just Admino. Godlike, they are losing their grip on the trophy as they keep on losing their players. The fist that needed to be clinched is now being opened up by Entity. That too in quite a systematic manner. As now Team Tumulas, they face off against the defending champions of the previous year. Team Tumulas, they want to be the new and the upcoming champions, but Mogo Esports, it's constantly doing damage against them. 2 players lost out from Team Tumulas, but Team Tumulas, even they're replying back in style. And Maxi OP, he strikes down all the players from Mogo Esports. That's 8 points off the rip to kick things off for Team Tumulas.
Massive play coming in from Maxi. He had 2 of his players who lost their feet. But for now, it seems like OG are up against the members of Reckoning themselves. Apes are facing the struggles. They've got 1 player down on his feet though. This duel is important. Is he going to win it? The first one, yes. But what about the next? The answer back is absolutely there. 3 players of Reckoning down on his feet and just 1 out in the far fray. Orangutan are up with their wrath as they wipe out Reckoning as well. This team has got so many points in the power play. 20 points already.
But the circle instead, it's got some nice shenanigans to pull off. SouL now, they instantly swing back to life. With the zone shift, they will be the one in the prime spot.
It's unfortunate for Carnival because this is the second shift, after which they've got to try and breach inside that circle. This team thrives when they are in the circle itself, but for now, Mr. IGL facing a lot of troubles as yet again it's the Ravens.
Oh my god, Aim God! I mean, he's supposed to be the Aim God, but this time he whiffed everything. And Raven Esports, they need to pay the price for all of the mistakes that they made in that fight. I want to forget what I just saw about Aim God.
And the man who got 2 is out, but Ronnie is in. He sprays everything to miss on Mr. IGL.
Hell's gonna break loose soon. Team Tumulas, they pull off the biggest rotation, but then CG's going to be on the receiving end of things. And CG, they have been eliminated from the game. And with this elimination, they lose the championship of BGMS Season 3. They were so close. But will they be able to maintain that podium finish? This last game was being played so safe by CG. And that ended up being their own kryptonite. Entity's the champion.
They need to wipe out SouL.
They need to wipe out SouL, but as I mentioned, if Entity or either Team Tamilas find a flawless rotation in the zone, they will be the champion. SouL's job was to stop Entity in their tracks before they make that rotate, but you cannot really blame the players of SouL too, because they did not know it's Entity they need to face off against. And look at the amount of points Entity already has. They've gotten 11 finish points. And probably in the final few moments, they will rack up a few more finish points against Xpark and Godsreen too. For Godsreen, I don't think so they stand a chance to be the champions anymore because they do not have enough finishes.
Absolutely. Even if they wipe out every single person out in the lobby, that's not going to give them enough. As you mentioned, the important point or the important time for them was the power play, which they did not utilize at all. But Xpark can actually be the spoiler for, I mean, all of these teams. Let's be honest. AQOP did his job for Team Tamilas, and now it's Entity who found Phantom already. Shadow finds KSR 7-2, so that's one good thing for Xpark. But Ronnie has actually found a good off angle, and he can take the fight. Never mind.
Nades being tossed in, Xpark losing out on a Sarang, but this gives Entity the chance they needed to make it in the zone. And look at Entity controlling the entire tide now. Who's gonna stop Entity? I told you, SouL needed to stop Entity from making that rotation, but SouL, they failed to do so. Entity already in the safer lines, Raiden's the casualty, as even Troy falls down. Now Entity's getting picked off. It's not a great news at all. Entity, they're getting a little bit too ahead of themselves. SouL, they have been eliminated from the game too. There's still one more man outside of the zone who's constantly going for that med strat. If he wraps up all the way from the back and spoils the game for Entity, maybe there's still some chance.
It could be possible because that's what Nakul is trying to do. Look at his positioning. The question is how many first aids he has. Probably just a few more. Not a lot to work around with. Trying to run away. Raiden cannot be revived up whatsoever. All of the Xpark now around in that one spot. Godstrain have been eliminated too. It's Entity up against Xpark, and Nakul is coming in as the spoiler. And
no, it's Sarang!
Oh my god.
To find the opener against Entity. It will be Team Xpark to close the game off, but Somraj, if he gets even one finish point over here, that might just be the nail in the coffin for the championship. I'm still in so many doubts. Who is it? Is it Entity? Is it SouL? It's definitely going to be quite close. It might as well be a tie between these two teams. That's how close it's going to be. And now both of these teams are going for the med strat. But Somraj runs outside of meds. He does not have them anymore. And it's Knuckle to secure the second spot in the game. He has gotten 6 placement points for his team. Will it be SouL to be the champions? And I think so. It will be SouL's.
इस ट्रॉफी की गूंज दूर तक जाएगी और इस रात की सुबह जल्दी नहीं होगी. The one and only SouL, the champions of season 3. There you go. They played like a team, a lot of changes, but in the end, it is success that SouL have tasted. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this season. We will see you next season for BGMS Season 4. Until then, it's good night.